drove through. It's so interesting because I find that that's something that us cultivators are still having a hard time figuring out silver bullets to. It's a lot of speculation, and the stuff that is actually being recommended is harsh because once they burrow in the soil or they get into the medium, most people are like, "Fuck, dude, it's very difficult."
I think a lot of people also, you know, like the what makes it a killer, and I've worked with a lot of people on rice root. Like some of these, so like maybe one lineage like of aphids that is able to suppress the immune system of a plant.
We need to figure out what species even of like what's on our plan of mold, because I remember at one point, because of a facility, we used to get the shittiest of the shittiest facilities, you know, for cannabis cultivation when it was
well, that's
illegal.
the thing, right? You don't always
black mold, and
yeah.
he's like in Colorado there was this.
Guys know that I do not hand trim anymore. I use my mini dry triminator in order to do that.
actual secrets in plain sight, and almost nobody's listening.
Welcome to YouTube.
Mohan was one of the pioneers of internet advertising.
Really kind of from me at the zoo to what it's become today. Creators that take their eye off that ball, that's where the problem starts.
Listen, I've spent hours and hours digging through interviews with Neil Mohan. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's the CEO of YouTube. And what I found will completely change how you think about growing on this platform. This isn't just like another 10 tips to go viral kind of video. This is straight from the man who literally controls the platform. And the crazy part of this is there are thousands and thousands of YouTube experts out there telling you how to grow. And I mean, I guess technically one of them, but how many of them have actually talked to the person who runs YouTube? Now, I'm also in that boat because I haven't spoken with the YouTube CEO either, but I went through every major interview and even small interviews that Neil has done in the past year, and I found insights that completely contradict what a lot of these YouTube growth creators are doing and saying. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what the CEO of YouTube says actually works on YouTube, what doesn't, and why your current strategy might be sabotaging your growth.
The goal is the same, which is to make our creators successful on our platform.
So let's start with the biggest lie in the YouTube space, that you need to hack the algorithm. Listen, everybody's obsessing over this mysterious black box called the YouTube algorithm, trying to reverse engineer it, but here's what the CEO of YouTube actually says about it.
The simplest way to think about the recommendations that you see in your feed, whether it's the home feed or on the watch page, is it is really a reflection of your interests as a viewer. And so when it's changing in the sense of reflecting back your interests or your personalized history of what you were watching on our platform.
Did you catch that? The algorithm is not some mystical force that you need to outsmart. When people say the algorithm's changed, Neil says,
well, because our interest as viewers continues to change.
This changes everything. You're not fighting the algorithm. You're working with it by creating content that genuinely serves your audience's interests. We should be replacing the word algorithm for audience, which brings us to the real secret here. See, when the YouTube CEO, Neil, was directly asked, what is the secret to being a successful creator on YouTube? His answer wasn't about thumbnails or titles or posting schedules, which kind of shocked me.
The first, and probably the most salient thing, and this is actually advice I give to people who ask me, like, what is the secret sauce of being a successful creator on the platform, is it really is being true to yourself. And that is, sounds sort of very cliche, but I wish somebody had given me that advice early in my career, because nothing rings more true.
Okay, but wait, it gets even better. He explains why this actually works.
And I can tell you for a fact that it's not the algorithm, it's all the other people that are on the other side of that glass when they're watching your video, if you're a creator, that can tell instantaneously whether that is actually truly your authentic self, or if you're trying to basically put yourself in another person's shoes.
Think about that. The CEO of YouTube just told you that authenticity beats the algorithm optimization every single time. And I think the reason is because, I mean, just think about your own viewing patterns. Think about content, like the psychology of content from a macro perspective. Like, I can guarantee you feel the same way. Your audience...
Positions on Pro Football Playoffs and the Pro Football Championship with Robinhood. Download Robinhood.
What's better than a walk? A Petco runs, duh. Steve, Petco's always been where the pets go.
Guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing to my channel. And while you're at it,
it looks like Apple is launching a new service product called Apple Creator Studio. And of course, there's already some negative connotations about it on the internet. It seems like everyone gets a little grumpy when a big company comes out with a subscription service model. We feel like we're paying for apps over and over again when we could just buy them outright. But I've been taking a look at this model, and actually, not that bad. Hey everyone, Tech Dad here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over this Apple Creator Studio. I'm going to talk about what you get inside this package, what it costs, and whether it's a good deal or not. The service actually launches on January 28th of 2026, and I've been looking it over, and I actually think it might be worth your while, at least to take a look at. So the package is at $12.99 for the average user, but there is a teacher and student option that's only $2.99 a month, and I'm kind of excited about that because I am a teacher and I definitely take advantage of most of the apps that are in the package. So without further ado, let's jump into this Apple Creator Studio. Let's talk about what's in the package and whether it's going to be worth that kind of money or not. All right, let's get into it. So first, let's talk about Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro. So in this package, you get a whole suite of Mac and iPad apps, and included in that suite is Final Cut Pro for Mac and Final Cut Pro for iPad. You also get Logic Pro for both devices, and I don't really use that app. That's for music makers. That's not for me, but it is included. And right there, I think that is a good deal because Final Cut Pro on the Mac is usually $300. And now, as a teacher, I can get it for $3 a month. And the thing is, I'm already paying $5 a month for Final Cut Pro on iPad, so I edit all these videos on my iPad using Final Cut Pro. And I think it's been awesome, and I thought $5 a month was actually not a terrible deal. So the subscription model for Final Cut Pro and iPad has been that way since the beginning, since they launched the app. So now, for me, it's just a big upgrade. Now I'm going to pay $2 less a month and get more apps, including the Mac version of Final Cut. Now, if you were not a teacher or student and you were paying that $12.99, I'm not sure that it would be worth it, especially if you don't use Final Cut a lot. But these aren't the only apps you get in the whole suite. There's a whole heck of a lot more. But just for my use case, paying $2.99 a month for both versions of Final Cut right there, that makes it worth it. All right, so the next thing you get are enhanced versions of the iWork Suite and Freeform. So the iWork Suite, of course, are Pages, Numbers, and Keynote, and these apps are free, and they have been free when you purchase any Apple device. That's been going on for a long time. Well, now you get enhanced versions of these apps, and what does that mean? Well, first of all, you get a whole heck of a lot more AI abilities. So, for example, now Keynote can generate a complete slide deck for you just based off some prompts. You get much better AI image creation, so you can create all kinds of images just from prompts. You get access to a hub of stock photos, graphics, and templates, and you can use those to make all kinds of slide decks, documents, and enhanced spreadsheets. So what does that sound like to me? Well, that's
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so
These things are no longer a boost, they are a tax. And if you don't understand this, it's going to hurt you and your business very bad. Just like we talked about in last week's video, eBay's new promoted listings policy where
I had an amazing opportunity to live in Osaka, Japan last year for a couple of months. We got to experience the culture, enjoy the amazing food scene, and observe the everyday rhythm of Japanese life. It was truly a remarkable experience, and my family
But the sign.
Thought about starting your own recruiting business. The reality is recruiting is one of the best businesses you can start in 2025 because you don't need a lot of money to get started. You don't need a bunch of prior experience, and you can make an incredible amount of money from just placing one single candidate, oftentimes over $20,000 per deal. So over the next few
All right. Again, Luke here. It's going to be a fun thing to come up with 691 kilowatt super gun. We're going to put it in this game here. IRAM, go ahead. So, let's pop this up and play some of that. This is a pretty well known for its level of difficulty and fairness. Most of the things that people eventually will try anyway. But if you just those games recently, well, this is just one more to add to the pile. Usually has some very interesting mechanics going on. Basically, you have a buck punch. Three buttons. You got a jump, you got a kick, and you got a punch. And in a demo mode, it was definitely hard to pass. Go ahead, pop it accordingly. I'll take a shot. Let me take a look at the background info.
About somebody giving away a tennis prize for free. Normally, it's priced at $15.
Give him a show. Give him a show. No, no, hey. Fun. What's up, family? Hey, fight for the show, guys. We got it back. This video explains what we went through, what we came up with, what we discovered, and the process of how we got it back. If you ever get your channel hacked, there's going to be tips in this video to show you how to do it as well. So, I just want to start off saying thank y'all very much for all the comments I received, all the emails about letting me know that my channel was hacked. You know, I knew it before y'all did, but it shows that y'all cared because y'all reached out to me and notified me, man. So everybody who was able to contact me, I know there was other people that was worried and wondering what was going on. And so I just want to say I appreciate y'all. process. The first dentist was horrible. Then the first set of teeth was horrible. It took me a couple years of research before I found you guys.
Spinal framework from the right of kidney. Okay. Next. Okay. Okay. Good. Side view. Okay. This is here to the kidney, look at that. And then you tell us. Yes. Higher. Then we can get it. Okay. Look at that. Yeah, do you see it? Okay, just yes, this one. Now this one too. Yes. Good, better. Good, good. Thank you. That's good. That's good. I like this. And here too. Okay. Just put everything just like what I said. Maybe here. Maybe here. So go one by one more. Okay. More. Wait. And it. Yes. Here too. So I can really put one piece like metal retention. Everything. Okay. I think there was more. Canine more. Thank you. Other side too. Same thing. This is just center precise surface case. 6 unit because occasionally going to come here and we try. So 4 unit is more suitable. This is 7-star case. That's good, right?
Oh yeah.
Now we're going to do the top. And then double check it quickly. So Dr. Emma, the dissertation was naturally class 3.
Two.
Two,
Is the
class
upper
two.
jaw. Well, I never saw you like this, but from what you, yeah.
How does it feel like? This is the first time we try. Then we can check the occlusion possible. And we can do that before we cement it.
That feels much more natural.
So this is way better than test.
The only thing that I thought they were all going to be individual in the front, not one solid piece. I know I'm going to notice it, probably nobody else wants to notice it, but what I can see where they're connected together, I mean, the bottoms I don't care about, the backs I don't care about, because I know for strength that's going to be important, but on the front ones, yeah. Is that something that we can change eventually?
Yes, we can make them more defined. So now I'm going to a little bit more define the joint areas more deeper. Now this is final look. It's a lot of effort. Our team from the frame, from PMMA, it's a really tough case is finally finishing. Awesome job. Like one individual looking comfortable.